Welcome into Seasiders TV, people. You know who I am. You know everybody is on here. I've been poorly, so if I look like crap, then it is what it is, and you just have to deal with it. If I sound like it, same thing. We've got Big Norm, we've got Mike Thompson, we've got Andy Norfolk in his back garden in the dark. And we're just going to talk about Brid getting slapped up yesterday, which they got slapped up 5-0. So because there was a massive hoo-ha on, we all know it, you've probably seen it on Facebook, like 86 message thread. Loads of speculation, loads of why haven't we done this, why haven't we done that, what's happening with this, what's happening with that, he's not good enough, why isn't he playing, etc., etc. There's a big echo, and I think it might be on somebody's phone, whoever's using the phone. I believe it might be ending Norfolk, but you're going to have to live with it. So what we'll do is we'll get into straight. That's why I put devil's advocate, because I'm going to play devil's advocate. So the first theme on here, on this thread, which everybody's entitled to their opinion, so it's cool. Is the idea that we seem to be making some mad decisions. That maybe the local boys aren't getting enough of a look in. Anything to say on that?
So do you want me, mate? You want me to speak?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
I think the local theme, I understand it. I understand why people want local players playing. I've got to have a thought process around quality as well, though. There's that thought process that we need to put the best available team on the pitch and the best available lads in the 16. And we've got to make sure that we're competitive. Now we're pretty unfortunate that Cam's come in and been injured pretty instantly. We've managed to get Billy on the pitch, but it's tough, right? And I think the biggest thing for me is just making sure that we put our best foot forward. I like the thought process of the opportunity for local lads, but it's also got to be right, and being around us, training with us, being around the team gives them every opportunity. And I've always said that. I said that previously. Andy will remember when we were playing, there was opportunities for lads to train and be around it and give it a crack. And I think if they stick to that and they take their opportunities, they'll get chances. But the caveat to the lot of it is that we need to put out our most competitive team on the pitch, and that's down to us. We make those choices, we make those decisions. We have to live by them some days when it don't go to plan, and when it don't go to plan, you get questioned on it, and I've got to live with that. But I feel like we have a very good squad. We have a great set. We've got, you guys probably don't see it, but we've got 3, 4, 5 local lads that has trained with us since I've come in. Some of them haven't even got in a squad yet, but they're willing to be there and they're willing to work for that. And that's brilliant for me because it shows the buy-in. That's massive. If they weren't willing to buy in, they wouldn't even be considered. So that's there, and long may that continue. We need to get to a point where if they're good enough to play in, right, and they'll get their opportunities to play. We're in a bit of a unique situation as well, mate, because I think we all know where this season's gone to date, and we know what the remit is. We know what we've got to achieve, and that puts a lot of pressure on young local lads that haven't played at this level. So I want to protect them a little bit as well. We want them around the lads. We want them training. We want them training around these boys that are experienced. But it's a lot of pressure if you're expecting some of those local lads that haven't played this level to step in, perform at a level that they've not been at, and do it well very quickly. That's a tough ask. and I wouldn't want to just chuck them into that either. So the opportunity is there for them, and if they're training the way they are with us, which they are, they may come. But we'll always put our best foot forward. 100%, we'll always put our best foot forward.
We can't hear you, Daniel. You've gone off.
Thanks, Norm. Cheers, mate. Yeah, so come to Andy on this one. It's been a bit of a constant theme going through like the whole season, actually, and that's the notion that we've got quite a few players here that are just here for a payday. Do you get any sense of
that? No, none at all. Just on that local lads thing as well. That for me, I've been at Brid now. It'll be 10 years in November, and it's always been the same. And in my time at Brid, there's probably only been 2 lads, Jake Day and James Faulkner, who have committed to doing all the travel, all that sort of stuff. And they reap the reward. Faulk's played quite a lot. Jake Day's obviously doing what Jake Day's doing at the minute. And would all love I'm a Hull City fan. I'd love 11 Hull lads to play for Hull City, but it's not realistic. And in terms of the money thing, I've never known a player to go, you know what, I'm just gonna play for the money. I've never known it in all my time doing it. In terms of from being 16 in full-time football to then coming to Bridgetown, I've never known it. Never known it. So I struggle with that notion. I don't get this feeling with this group. I had a real good chat with a few lads on the way home last night. They're not. It's not like it's not life-changing money what some of these lads are on. So this notion of it's just money, it frustrates me because it just doesn't happen, in my opinion.
Yeah. So then we can get rid of the money talk and we put aside the local lads talk because it's the best 11 get on the field due to merit on a weekly. The other kind of themes that were popping up there is that you might have some players that aren't good enough. And look, I've said in a few videos, and it is just, but it literally is a week by week video. I have said, especially early on in the season, that I didn't think Derry Robson was good enough at that point. Now I've heard that he's a better midfielder than he's a fullback. And stuff like this, and I'm also put my hands up and go, I am in no way like that's not a qualified opinion. It's just what I'm looking at. But it is a name that seems to crop up with a lot of people a lot of the time. It seems to be the first name off everybody's lips when people talk about that. I'll come to Mike first. Is there anything in that? Well, obviously not, because he's playing, he's getting on the bench and stuff like that.
No, listen, one thing you'll never get out of me, I won't dig a player out. I will not dig a player out at all, because they're our squad, they're our players. Obviously, they're not my chosen players. They were here before I got here, but every one of them, to a T, has bought into what we're trying to bring, right? And I can tell you now categorically, if they didn't, it'd be a very difficult conversation as to how we move this forward, because I'd have to have conversations with ownership about the fact that they're not in it for the reasons that I want them to be. And how do we go about shuffling that on, even if there's a contract involved in that? But Derry, you're probably right, has not been utilised in his best and preferred position. Andy made a phenomenal point at the weekend that the lad's won this league, right? He's played at this level, he's played levels above, he's won this league with Belper Town, and he is a model kid at what he does. He trains well, he's committed, he's with us, he does things right when he's not selected, he comes on and gives us what he gives us when he enters the pitch, and he deserves the opportunity to be here with us. So you'll never get me dig a player out unless I am really confident that they've not bought into what we want out of them. That'd be a different story, and I'd make that apparent. But I think the overriding point, the reason I wanted to come on when you asked me after defeat on Saturday, was I'll never hide from the fact that You know, if we win, people love it. If we don't, people have issues with it. That's the nature of the beast. That's what it is. But I'll never hide from what we have to front up as well. And I think, you know, we admitted to the players at full time on Saturday, we probably waited too long to change the shape. You know, it was one of those where we got found out down the sides. They capitalised on it over a 15, 20-minute period, and it cost us dearly. You know, and I think the one thing that we could probably say to the players about where we're at the moment is that I want to flood them with a little bit more confidence. You know, don't feel like the game's done at 1 or 2, because it's always there for you. We'll give you an environment where you can go out there and do it with confidence, because we want you to do things the right way. I think there is something in it at the moment that they're lacking severely in confidence when it's not going the right way. We got out of Bishop Auckland what we did because there was zero fear. And I think that was very similar against Sheffield as well. So that's up to us. That's me and Andy. That's the management team. We need to make sure that they play with zero fear, because we'll get the best out of them. But honestly, Dan, I think if a player wasn't bought into what we were doing, you'd know about it and they won't be involved. Derry is a model pro in what he does. He does not moan. He trains hard. He trains well. And he takes on the responsibilities that we give him when he enters the field. You know, he's probably played out of position, that's granted, but if we can get him into centre midfield, we will.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for that, Mike. So against Garforth, there was a 10-minute period, 3 goals conceded. And then against Newton Aycliffe on Saturday, it was like a 20-minute period, close to 20-minute period, and then another 3 goals conceded. Is that something you've really got to look at and pinpoint and try and understand why that's happening?
Do you want me on that or Andy?
Either Andy, go for Andy, yeah.
Go on, I want to touch on the Derry point as well. So Derry, I've known 9 years now. I first came across Derry at Gould. Derry's been at this level for 10 years. He's, like I say, he's won the league. He knows what it's about. He trained really well on Thursday. Was probably unlucky not to start. So don't worry about Derry. He's probably been stitched up a little bit in terms of where he's played, because he's not played his natural position. But Derry's an experienced lad who knows this level and knows what it takes to be at this level. In terms of the game on Saturday and the little like 10-minute periods we're talking about, I actually thought in the first half on Saturday first 20 minutes we played really well. We started really well, and then it was almost like 3 shots, 3 goals. We got punished, but that's what we're trying to get across. Is I saw a comment last night saying that Newton Aycliffe are a pub team. They're far from it. You were playing good teams at good level who are going to punish you if you make mistakes, and that's what's happening. We're getting punished for the mistakes we're making, and we're not punishing teams for the mistakes they make or the chances we get. That's the issue at the minute for me. And it is frustrating because it seems like a concentration thing, but these lads will come good. I have no doubt in my mind these lads will be good.
I'll actually hand over to Norm, because obviously he was at the game there yesterday, and he'll have his questions about things that happened during the game.
I've got to agree with Andy 100%. First 20-25 minutes, I thought, okay, now we look good. I was really impressed. I thought we looked really good. But then we got that long ball again, didn't we? It went up. And I saw Tom Allen trying to get the midfield to come back and help. He was shouting. I could hear him going at him. And nobody got to help him. And they got caught short. And that guy in back post, and away it went, didn't it? It was in. And then our heads seemed to drop. That's what I get worried about, Tom. I've got to be honest. Our heads seem to drop. That's worries me. You've got a game's 90 minutes. You don't let your heads drop.
No, but this thing as well. So for me, we've had a massive opportunity. The game was at 1-1 when 1-0. Sorry, when we've had the ball seemed like from our corner, it's bounced on the goal line, on their goal line that is. And then 8 seconds later, the ball's in the back of the net. That's a massive opportunity in terms of you can either go 1-1 or you can go. And we went 2-0 down. No, that is a massive momentum swing in the game. And I actually agree with you, Norman, in terms of I think with the way that the lads' seasons have been so far, I think we don't quite have that belief at the minute that when we go 1-2-0 down, we can get back in the game. Now that's going to come eventually, but these lads need the positive. We can't have these lads just thinking negative, heads down. We need them up, shoulders back, ready to go again, because anything can happen. You know, they've done it a few times where they've come back 3-0 down at Bishop Auckland away from home. They've come back 1-4-3. These boys can do it, but they just need to believe they can do it.
They couldn't get it, but yeah, I like them. I think they're a good squad of players. I'm with Tom on that one. It's a good squad. It annoys me that we fade away. Look against Grimsby Borough, Tom. We were all over them. You know, and we give a silly goal away. An absolute diabolical goal.
Absolutely, and I think the thing is that we've said it to the boys independently, we've said it collectively as a group. You can't afford that type of lapse at this level because we've been punished. You know, before Saturday, I was really vocal before Saturday about the fact that nobody had to try to score a goal against us. You know, we've been in every game. We'd won 2, lost 2, but it felt really, really frustrating that we'd lost the 2 that we did. You know, Grimsby Borough, I thought we could have been there all night and it wouldn't have changed, but we're very much in the game. And I was kind of rubbing my hands together at 1-0 when Mike scored at Aycliffe, because the way the first 2 games had gone, I thought we'd really crack on. So there is something in that. It is a confidence thing. I think there's a bit of a hangover because the season's gone the way it has so far. You know, confidence is dented and it's difficult, and they're struggling with that. And I think what we need to make sure, we did this at Bishop Auckland, is that thought process around you're always in a game. You're always in a game, and we back you. I think the massive thing about that first game under me was that we got them in at half time, and I think they wholeheartedly believed that they were going to be ripped a new one for being 1-0 down at half time. And it wasn't the case, and there was a little bit of a bounce out of that. And we've had that in both games at home for the Aycliffe game and the Grimsby Borough game. But it's that next step after that. You know, can we cut out the silly stuff, the mistakes that are costing us dearly, and can we make sure that we're switched on for a full 90? Because at this level, you can't afford to let that slip. And please bear in mind, we've had 1.5 training sessions in them. I know we're against time. That is difficult, and we are pretty much playing with what we've had with very limited time, and it's tough, you know, because we've had the back-to-backs on the midweekers. I've changed our training so that we've got a little bit of time with them on Thursdays when we're playing on Tuesdays, which was tough. But again, the lads have bought into that instantly. It's what I need to see. With a little bit more time, I believe that, you know, the psychology of it will shift. And I can't agree anymore, like with what Andy said. We've got a really good set of lads. There ain't no issues there, right? I had a few reservations, I'll be really honest, and I've spoken to the boys about this. When I came in, knowing, you know, the makeup of it, I had a few reservations. They've been phenomenal. They've been absolutely phenomenal. And what I want now is to make sure that because of the environment we're giving them, we get some payback out of that. And we aren't far away, guys. Honest to God, we aren't far away. And if we want to be realist about it, we set ourselves targets of being in this little mini league, right? You know, we know what the aims of the season are now, and the boys know that as well. So we've got our aims and objectives for what the next 4 or 5 games look like, and then the next 4 or 5 games after that. So, you know, give us that time to get that right, because I back them, and like I say, we won't play them if we back them.
Yeah. Do you think, have you got enough leaders in this team? I'll come to you, Andy. Is there enough battle-hardened, experienced leaders that can dig you out of an hole if you get in one?
Well, I think it's depending on your fan leader, doesn't it? You talk about experiences. We've probably got one of the most experienced squads in the league in terms of Tom Allen's played 10 years at the Conference North. Eddie's played around this level for a long, long time. Pete's been around this level for a long, long time. Cooler. So we have got a lot of experience. The one thing for me is it's not so much the experience stuff. It's sort of like the team spirit. Can we get these boys together where they want to work hard for each other? And that's difficult when they come from all over the place. That is difficult. But if these boys want to work for each other, the quality will take over because they have got quality. So I think, like you say, it depends how you define a leader, really. Like, what does a leader look like? We've got people who, like Cooler yesterday, led by example in his performance. He's not a ranter and raver. Okay. Someone like Seb, he's a bit louder. You know, so it depends how you define a leader, really. Like, so we have got experienced players. We've got lads who have won this league. We've got lads who have played a lot higher in this league. It's just bringing it all together and finding that nice little mix where we can push on through.
Well, I was going to say something about Newton Aycliffe on Saturday. I noticed them. I don't know if you did, but they had somebody in charge of the back four. They had somebody in charge of the midfield. And they were a unit. They worked as a unit. They were fantastic at it. And I can't knock them. They blocked everything we put in front of them. Really organised team. I thought they were excellent. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I can't disagree, Norm. And I think if you look at the last 3 games, if you looked back at Newton Aycliffe's team from last year, I don't think it's too dissimilar whatsoever. Right. I can guarantee you, if you look back at Grimsby Borough's team for the last 5 years, there's next to no change. And I think there's something in that. You know, a lot of these boys are still new to each other. There's boys that have come in midway through the season. You know, what have we got? Ben Lewis, that's still here.
Yeah, you're right.
Historically. So, you know, you've got to give a lot of kudos to people like Dan Barrett at Grimsby Borough. He's kept the core of a squad together that was 2 divisions below. And they've only built around that when and if they've needed it. I looked exactly the same at Emily. You know, absolute core of the team that won the league last year, the league below. They're still together, and they're third in the league at the moment. So there's something in that. You get that brotherhood when you're together and you're around each other and you know each other well, and that accountability comes into play from that point of view as well. And you know, you can't just have that overnight. It won't happen. It's a trust thing.
And it's talk more to each other, Tom. We're a very quiet team, aren't we? Like you say, you can hear Seb in goal, you can hear him in dressing room, no problem. You can hear the lad. But
I suppose that's the conversation that I've tried to go down the route of. We want to give you an environment where you can just go out there and be confident to play. Like, that's the aim. We knew what the remit was coming in, and we knew that some of the things that we thought needed changing. So, if we can get them on the training field, we can get some drill into them. But more often than not, we just want to give them the opportunity to be in a good environment. Like, if we do that, I'd love to think that there is enough experience there is enough quality there to make sure that we are easily above the dotted line. It should be higher, but let's have a look at where we're at now, and let's have a look at how many games are left. That's what's important for the rest of this season. And honestly, if I didn't think it was achievable, I wouldn't have even bothered. You know,
I talk to you anyhow. Everywhere we go, I talk to you, Tom. But I have 100% believe in you and Andy. I like Andy enough, even though I give him a lot of go. He's a good lad. He's bridge through and through, and I'm all for him.
That's good to know.
Jumping on that as well, when Thomas says about the Grimsby Borough people, the teams that have done really well in this league have been teams that have been together for a long time. So I look at Worksop, were in this league for a long time, got a solid group together. I look at Cleethorpes now, they've had a core group together for a long, long time. Stockton last year, when they went up, was practically the same team that came up from the Northern League. So these are lads that have played with each other for 3, 4, 5 years and got really in sync with each other. It's even similar to Brid last year. You know, me and Lewis Dennison played together for a long, long time, so we knew what each other wanted to do. And that when you play in that 9 and 10, you get that relationship. Same with Jack Bullish and James Williamson at centre half. They played together for a long time. They know what they wanted to do with each other, or they know how each other are going to play. Now, we're not saying, this is no offence to them boys, they're one of my best mates, but we're not saying they're the type of people we're going to try and bring in to get us promoted.
Please don't, Andy. It'd be so much time.
But what I'm saying is that they're going to they have relationships. They've already got pre-relationships from playing with each other for that long, and that's what we need to get in. I look at. I'm trying to look at Dan Hartley and Tom Allen. They've probably only played together 15 times, something like that. With Seb behind them, Cooler and Ahmed probably not played together up front for more than 5, 6 times. it makes a massive difference.
But there's one player bothering me, lads, and I'll be honest with you, and that's our goalie. He's really gone off form to where he was at the beginning of the season. That guy came for any cross, he caught it. I'm noticing staying back on his line a lot more now. He's not coming out and catching them as anywhere near what he did at the beginning of the season. So
And again,
I'm
I think
a bit concerned what's going on with Seb. It seems to be a bit off form to me.
again, I just think, the guy probably isn't used to operating at this confidence level. He's been around a workshop team that absolutely dominated the league and went up by 23 points. He's then been a part of that unit in a league higher and, probably only been pushed out by a lad that's played Conference North football. And then he finds himself in a struggling team at the time. And that's difficult. Right. And I suppose, the hot potato analogy, you don't want it anywhere near you when things are going tough.
Don't get
and
me wrong, Tomo. I love the guy. I think he's brilliant. I like the way he does. I just wish it seems to be losing a bit of confidence to me. I don't know. That's how I'm seeing it.
I suppose what our thing needs to be from here on in, Norm, is that we have to get him back to that form of Worksop winning the league. And what's it going to take to flood him with that type of mentality that he's an absolute monster, because he was an absolute monster in 2022, 23, and not much has changed. He's fit, he looks after himself, his stature's fantastic. It's up here that he's probably around something that's been a struggle, and he's not experienced that for 2 or 3 seasons.
Is there something to say about not having a viable number 2 around at the minute?
Well, we have, because we've got a 24-hour recall on Ben Vos if we need it.
Right. Okay.
So he's there. He's available. I keep obvious tabs on him. I get the video footage of his games. He's playing well. He's playing, which is important. I wouldn't want to carry him and be on the bench and not play because he'd deteriorate. So it's not that there isn't a viable option. It's a 24-hour recall. If we require him.
I said that
he trains with us as well, Dan. He's very committed.
No, I love Ben. I've talked to Ben a few times. It's just for me, again, very young keeper, and is Ben ideally somebody? Say, for instance, if Seb did get an injury, is Ben someone ideally that you'd want to put in net for Brid for the rest of the season? For me, I'd like and it's only my preference. I'd love an experienced number 2 that could take Seb out for a couple of games, let him just chill out for a couple of games, and then maybe bring him back in as his confidence rises. But that's ideal settings, really. But
that you've hit the nail on the head with that, because we're all looking for the unicorn, and I think it's February. We've got players committed to the football club that we have committed. They're at the football club for the season, for the duration. And when you start looking for things like that, it's very difficult. If you want something with more quality than Seb, well, more often than not, they're going to be in a team that's doing well, leagues above where we are at the moment. And you can't shift that. You can't shift that in February. So what you would potentially find is a goalkeeper that's not been playing, or that's been playing and it's been dispelled by somebody else from a higher league, so they're low on confidence, and you're probably not going to get anything materially better than where we're at because of that circumstance in February. And that's tough, mate. That's tough. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm, again, being a realist, I'm always looking for improvement. I'm always looking for players that can come in and do something that we don't have in our current squad. But when you're looking in February and you're trying to get something better than what we've got, you're probably going to struggle. I'll be really honest. Because lads are, I've had conversations about lads that are at other clubs, and, in February, certain clubs want money, to get them out of a contract. And I ain't willing to do that. We're happy with where we're at. Yes, if we could make a move and it made sense, then fair play. But it's a very difficult one, that in February, Dan. Being honest. I come from it from like quite an ignorant, well, not ignorant, but not a totally informed area, and I'll put my hands up because I'm just a fan at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean?
But
And that's
the
why
other
I don't
thing-
mind answering those questions. You know, it's like sometimes it's good to get our point across that, you know, you sometimes hear like why are certain players in squads or why are certain players being used? Why isn't something? I don't mind answering all of that. And I think if I could be really honest in a pre-season or a post-season and my players being here, you'd hear a different answer. But we're really happy and confident that we can get out of this squad what I believe they're capable of. If there was any way of improving it, we'd look at that as well. Of course we would. I just think in February you really struggle with that.
Yeah. One other thing would be that seems to do the rounds is that people seem to think that Brid are very pretty and do some good work in between, like halfway in the 18-yard box. But the clinicality in front of goal seems to be a bit off or wayward or not quite where it needs to be. Is that just a chemistry thing?
I think there's something in that. I think I felt like we had Danielle and Kulo clicking really quickly. You know, we scored, what was it, 7 goals in 3 games, and that looked good. You know, Kulo had scored 3 and 3. Danielle had scored. Danny's injury sort of hampered us a little bit because that little bit of spark and chemistry got broken up. Fair play to Mike. He is professional as hell, you know, and he's done things really well. He was probably, and I'm not being brutal here, this is what I've said to the boys in the changing room at full time, he was the only one for me that could take ultimate credit out of Saturday because he didn't stop.
I disagree with you, manager.
Right, okay.
Totally disagree with you, 100% disagree with you. There was one man lit my eyes up, and I'll tell you what he did light my eyes up, Markham. What a game that lad had.
He did well. He did well.
He was up and down that pitch, and for his first game back, it must have been tough for the kid. And I thought he had a good game.
He's coming without playing any game for us, and you know we was unfortunate that Bolton's unwell. You know, he was in the squad, but he was unwell. Alex has come in and stood in and done well, right? He's done well, and for a 19-year-old lad like you say, he takes that credit. For me, I'm talking across the full stanza here. I thought Mike was great, and he didn't stop. But we are missing that Dan. I think you know that spark. It's obvious to see that Dan's been out injured for a couple of games, and we haven't scored goals. And we lacked a bit of pace on Saturday. You know, there was opportunities to get him behind, and we lacked that pace. And for all Mike's endeavour, you know, he didn't have Dan next to him. And Ahmed was probably the only round peg in square hole on Saturday, and he worked hard, but he was probably not where we'd want to play him. And he's done a job for us. So yeah, there is something in that. I can buy into that, but you know, look at what we did in the first 3, and I'd hope that we get Dan back fit and them two bounce off each other once more.
Andy, do you see any vulnerabilities when it comes to quick turnovers of the ball and maybe a direct ball over the top or a quick passing phase, which when the defenders are facing their own goal, recovering towards their own goal, sometimes we look a bit vulnerable in that phase of the game?
Potentially. That'd be the way we're asking him to play. So it's something me and the gaffer Tom might need to have a look at in terms of how we're asking them to do things. Because we want to be on the front foot, we want to be active, we want to defend 1v1. We think the lads are good enough to defend 1v1. However, in terms of this sort of this transitional phase, we need to be better on the ball. So we need to not give the ball away to allow teams to counter-attack on us. Because what teams are in this league are direct. They've got some quick lads up front. The direct will try playing behind as soon as they can. So we need to be better on the ball. We need to keep the ball better. Okay, and that's what we're trying to get into them. I did the drill on Saturday in the wall was getting used to the 10-yard passing, just keeping the ball. Okay, not turning it over too quick, sustaining some attacks. Because ultimately, if you don't sustain attacks, if you keep turning over the ball, it's going to be a long day for you. And no one wants to keep defending all day.
Okay, no worries, mate. Thanks for that. let's move on from that now then, because I think as quickly as that's put to bed, I reckon the better. Because in your post-match interview, Tom, you've got a much more important game coming up on Tuesday than that one on Saturday. I would suggest. I know they're all worth 3 points, but you and Aycliffe, including the game that they just played against us, have just scored 9 on the bounce. I think 9 goals without reply. So they're on some good form. The Brighouse game is massive, though, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. And we also know that what squad we've got, what availability we've got, what injury list we've got, and we've tried our damnedest to keep things same and similar, but have a little bit of rotation to keep people fresh. And we've had that thought process in mind for what Tuesday and Saturday we'll hold in Cleethorpes at home. So it is massive. Again, I'm not saying anything that I didn't say in the changing room at full time. The boys know it. It's not a pressure thing. They just understand that, if we come up north and we nicked anything out of that, I'd understand. I think it was a brilliant nick. That mentality has to change for Tuesday, because this is a like for like, 1-on-1 6-pointer if ever you've seen one. And the boys need to kind of embrace that pressure on our own patch. Knowing what we've done since I've come in at home, there's a couple of defeats in there, but I think we've played very well. We've got to go in with that kind of psyche that, you've got to come onto our patch and we're going to make life difficult for you. But ultimately, yeah, it's massive. We know that. The boys know that. They were hurting at full time because they knew it doesn't look great, and it's a difficult one to digest. But all focus is on Tuesday 100% now, because we know that's one of them teams in that little mini league that I just mentioned at the very beginning of the video. We've got to finish in the top 3 of that little mini league, and that's our aim. That's our remit moving forward now.
Andy, thoughts on Tuesday night, mate? I know it's going to be fairly similar to Tomo, but it is a massive game on Tuesday. I'm sure you'll be yapping from the sidelines like a mad one. So yeah. What's you? Is it a case of this is the system that we play? These are the tactics that we're doing. We've only had so many training sessions, so it's going to be go out there, play our football, and hopefully just be the best team on the night.
Well, yeah, they're all huge, aren't they? Every single game is huge for where we are in the league. Brighouse, for me, is no more huger than Saturday against Cleethorpes. People will probably look at us against Cleethorpes and think, well, they're not going to win that, but why can't we? Why can't we win that game?
When we went there, Andy, it was 3-2, and they give them a goal where 2 players held Seb on the goal line, and the referee rung the manager up and apologised. He made a mistake.
So there you go then. So we've matched them for 90 minutes already, haven't we? So why can't we go beat them again? Or go try and beat them? Okay. The Brighouse one is huge. But for me, it's only, like I say, every game is huge. And they're only huge if you lose them. We win on Saturday. I looked at the bottom 8, I think it was earlier. There's a point between, I think, 15th and 23rd, is it? Something like that?
Yeah.
There's only a couple of points. So 2-3 wins in a row gets you out of it. But like we've just seen, three losses in a row gets you back in it. So every game is huge. No game is bigger than any other until we're certainly safe. But we're going to give it a good go. Why not, eh?
Yeah, definitely. I'll still be shouting, Andy. I'll be there no matter where it is.
I can hear you all the time now. I've heard it for the last 10 years. You usually call me a fat bastard.
Well, you've called me for worse names, Andy, may I add?
Sorry, boys, been ill. Norm, have you got anything else to ask the boys before we get off?
As I say, Tom's already said it's a 6-pointer Tuesday night. I want to see 3 points at this game, lads. I'll be honest. We've got to go for this one. We've got to. And how close is Danielle, Tom? How close is he?
I can't say yes or no yet, but I'm more confident than not that he's available for Tuesday.
Do with that bit of pace up front, couldn't we?
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm more confident than not. Well. I've got to have another debrief with Josh about that before Tuesday.
Right.
What I will say on that as well, the attacking stuff is we've got 5 injuries at the minute, and 3 of them are strikers.
Yeah, it
So I
is
look at
this round. Yeah.
Al Peterson injured, Cam Connolly injured, Danny Hale injured. And again, that makes a massive impact on one, what you can bring off the bench, and two, what you can start.
Yeah.
So, well, four if you include Baz as well, because Baz can play up there. So we're doing it tough up front at the minute, but it will come. It will come.
Just want to say in this league, Tomo, I really do. I think we're good enough to be in this league. I do. I really do.
Oh, mate, listen, that type of statement is not in question whatsoever. I suppose what me and Andy have to achieve now is what the remainder of the season looks like. And my biggest thing is making sure that the boys buy into our way of doing things, because I'm pretty damn sure that if they do, we'll be the right side of it. Absolutely. There's enough quality, there's enough experience, the changing rooms together. The small amount of time that we've had together, I feel like we get out of them what we need. It's just, Andy's mentioned already, we might be asking some players to do things that they've not done all season, and that's on us. It's cost us a little bit when we've looked a little bit silly in how we've conceded some of our goals, but they might not have been set up to do that ever before this season. And, we have to take that one on the chin. But I do believe with everything that we've got, I agree with you. Proof's in the pudding, right? We've got to go out there and make sure we are.
Yeah.
Dom's asking for an update on Josh Barrett, if you've got one, Tomo.
Yes, I'm sure you've all seen. He's been doing the warm ups every week with Josh. So he's done a lot of work, just straight line running. Started doing some snake runs and S runs and things, and looks pretty positive. For the first time on Thursday, he got involved in a non-contested training session with us in York, which again was really positive. And he did the full warm-up at Newton Aycliffe on Saturday. So, don't hold your breath just yet. If he's back at the back end of February, I'd be over the moon. Josh is absolutely gagging to be involved as well, which is a big point. He's when there's been these accusations or comments flying around about money, the kid's been at every game, the kid's been at every training session. I had some really detailed conversations with him when I was coming into the club about what he wanted to achieve and what the season so far had been like, and he's been nothing but supportive for me. He's absolutely gagging to get himself back on the pitch, and he's another one that's been around here. He's been around these levels and levels high that can bring something more to this squad. So as soon as he is available, he'll be involved, because his contribution will be key, and I know that he'll bring more to this squad.
He's been one of them players, Tomo, that you can put up at the front as well, isn't he?
Andy just mentioned that
before. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
It feels like he's been a big miss as Josh.
Well, I feel like a new signing. If he's looking after himself, he's doing things right, so he will be fit. He'll obviously lack that match and that game sharpness, but he's gagging to be back involved. He really is.
Mark Wayne was absent on Saturday. Is that him just doing his own business? Will he be back on?
Yeah, he's back on Tuesday. He was unbelievably apologetic, but we had 3 games, and then he knew he'd be missing 2 on the bounce. So we couldn't, or 2 Saturdays on the bounce, sorry. And that's probably the nature of the level that Mark's been at, for a period of time, and he was gutted about it. Didn't want to do it, but it was stuff that was booked in. So he still trained the boys midweek. He was still here for the game midweek, and he'll be back on Tuesday as well.
Can I just ask, Daniel, is there any of the gobby twats on that's been pulling players down and that? Is there any of them on?
Apart from you, no, mate, no.
The spineless twats, aren't they? I love them, they're spineless.
I'm joking, mate. I'm joking. So, listen, we get over 400 down on a Saturday. Let's try and at least get over 200 on a Tuesday. Because, I couldn't get there the other Tuesday. I've had the flu, and it's the first time in my life, and it's brutal, right? But even I'm going to be down there tomorrow night. I'm going to brave it. Not tomorrow night, Tuesday
They'll go
night.
tomorrow. It might be a bit premature.
Yeah. So, listen, I'll give the floor out to anybody else who wants to say anything else, and then we're going to all get on with the rest of our Sunday evenings. Anybody?
I've
No,
got
I was going to think my phone's going to die. I've gone from 50% to 1% in the space of 44 minutes. But these boys will come good. Don't worry about them.
Cheers, Andy.
So I'm after shoot. So see you all Tuesday. Well, we get another 3 points.
Andy. Have
See
your
you, Andy.
job done, son.
Cheers, pal. I mean, only last thing from me. I've already mentioned it on this video. Is you know, it's brilliant when we win. People want a little bit more when we lose. I know that's the nature of the beast, but you know, back what we've got, because these boys will come good. And you know, now that I've had time to experience them and be around them and know the characters, I know what we've got, and I wholeheartedly believe that. So, you know, as a fan base, backers, because I promise you, you know, we're turning over every stone possible to make it the end of the season that we want, and I won't stop until we do. You know, we work hard, and I know these boys are doing the same. So, you know, a good backing Tuesday and Saturday would be brilliant for us, and we'll try and return that with our efforts and 3 points. Really will.
Yeah, I think the absolute aim is, come the end of the season, just be in this league, because next year that gives you the opportunity to get a proper pre-season, proper planning, and just start everything off properly for a real campaign and a real crack at it. And that's just where we need to get to.
Best thing that's happened to me, Tomo, is that you've come back, and I've told people on this channel, son. So no matter what, you know, you and me gobbing off, but that doesn't disrespect you or Andy.
I know the
Good
game.
luck, right?
I know the game, and
I'll be there wherever you go, son. I'll travel. I'll be there. I'm not like these people that do all this gobbing off and don't go anywhere.
We love you, pal. We absolutely love you, and I think that's half of our reward. You know, when we look at it and we see similar faces and people that we're trying to make smile. So yeah, that's what we think about.
I'll just say something to you, Tomo. There was quite a few more there this Saturday at that match. I noticed I would say there was 20 or 30 supporters there from Brid.
Oh mate, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Long may that continue as well. And
I thought it was good turnout Saturday from Brid supporters. Right,
that's Sunday night Seasiders TV. That's been the gaffer. That's been my gaffer, Norm. Thanks for tuning in, and listen, we'll see you all down there on Tuesday night. Keep the faith, up the Seasiders. Come on.